Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, June 11th, 2020. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. A well-defined tropical wave is expected to begin affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines this evening into tonight. The SVG Met Office says although conditions appear unfavorable for significant development of the system, cloudy to overcast conditions accompanied with showers, periods of rain, and possible isolated thunderstorms are anticipated across the islands into Friday morning. Residents and motorists are asked to be on the alert during this period. The Met Office says models further suggest that the low to mid-level should remain relatively moist after the passage of the week's axis, so occasionally cloudy conditions are likely through Friday. It further noted that weak pulses traversing the train may trigger a few early brief showers on Saturday, while a rich pattern should build across the island around Sunday, resulting in fair to partly cloudy conditions. Within the next 6 to 12 hours, the Met Office said east northeasterly gentle to moderate trades will across the islands and may gust occasionally, especially near showers, and east southeasterly flow is expected across Saturday with an increase near 40 kilometers per hour on Sunday. Slight to moderate sea conditions with swells peaking to 1.0 meters on the western coast and near 2.0 meters on the eastern coast are also forecast heading into tonight, becoming generally moderate by Friday. Slight conditions are expected to return around Saturday evening. Slight dust haze concentrations may increase to moderate around Sunday. And in light of recent rainfall, the Central Water and Sewage Authority, the CWSA, is reporting that its water systems, except for Montreal, are back to normal, hence the discontinuation of its water rationing measures. This was announced today by Chief Executive Officer of the CWSA, Garth Saunders, while giving an update about the current and forecasted weather and its effects on the CWSA.
Now that the rains have returned, inflows at many of the affected sources, with the exception of Montreal, have seen significant improvements. So much so that we have already happily discontinued our water rationing and we are now back to normal 24/7 supply. That is until further notice. The bad news, however, is that we have just entered the hurricane season, where heavy rainfall events could trigger flooding and landslides.
Saunders said with SVG currently in the hurricane season, it is likely that some disruptions may take place, which will be closely monitored.
Pipelines traverse steep slopes from the forests and cross many rivers. It is likely that one or more of our systems will be knocked out or disrupted at some point during this rainy season, leaving some communities without water for up to 24 hours. While we have little control over these natural events, we at the CWSA will control the controllables. We will continue to ready ourselves to respond to the emergencies.
The CWSA CEO again appealed to persons to install private water tanks and store up water in the event of disruptions to their service due to a storm or hurricane. In other news, a plaque in memory of the late Sergeant 209 Philbert Gregory Chambers, who died in the line of duty on Sunday, April 26, 2020, was unveiled today at the Central Police Station in capital Kingston. According to a police report, Sergeant Chambers was among a party of police officers attached to the Kittels Police Station who was dispatched on duty to execute a search warrant at the home of Gleason Lewis in Camden Park. Lewis reportedly opened fire on the officers, killing Sergeant Chambers and wounding police constable 700 Verrill's son in the process. The police engaged, returned fire, and Lewis was fatally shot. A coroner's inquest is being conducted into the matter. At today's unveiling ceremony, Police Commissioner Colin John said the memorial plaque is the realization of a promise made by the High Command of the RSVG Police Force at Chambers' funeral on May 21st, 2020.
His funeral, we promised that we would unveil a plaque in commemoration of his service and his contribution to the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force and St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole. Today, we are realizing that promise. Just want to thank his parents once again for allowing us, the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole, to enjoy his service and the dedication, the hard work that he gave to different sectors of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force. He was a vibrant leader in the Police Youth Club. He was an excellent investigator. He was very good at community policing. He interacted very well with the senior citizens in the area, where on Christmas time he would prepare and would arrange for food baskets to be given to the elderly in the Kittels district. So at this time I just want to say thanks again for his service to the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force.
This is the first time that the RSVG Police Force is said to have ever unveiled a plaque in memory of a fallen officer, and Commissioner John said he hopes that it will be the last.
Because we don't want any police officer to die in the line of duty, but we know the nature of the job, and it is very likely that things of this nature may happen again. So we have put things in place, and it's a policy of the organization now that there will be a memorial area at the Old Montrose police station. There's a garden of remembrance there where Sergeant Chambers' name would also be placed, and other members of the organization who may unfortunately fall during the line of duty. So just want to thank the members of his family and the members of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force for allowing us this privilege, well, it's not really a privilege, but this opportunity to unveil this plaque on behalf of our fallen comrade, Sergeant 209 Chambers.
A special plaque was also handed over to the parents of the late police sergeant by Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez.
Poetic invocation. The hero is welcomed by Robert Longley. Time to come home, dear brother. Your tour of duty through, you have given as much as anyone could be expected to do. Just a few steps further, the smoke will start to clear. Others here will guide you. You have no need of fear. You have not failed your brothers. You clearly gave it all. And through your selfless actions, others will hear the call. So take your place of honor among those who have gone before, and know you will be remembered for now and evermore.
Fitzburn Chambers, the brother of the deceased officer, encouraged all police officers serving with the RSVG Police Force not to just focus on promotions or the conditions under which they work, but to be more like his late brother, who was more concerned about providing exemplary service to the police force and the country on a whole.
I'm asking all police officers not to look at promotion, not to look at the way the station is, the condition, not to look at leave and so on. Discuss that in a different forum. Do like Philbert. Dedicate yourself to the service of your country. Not to the Commissioner of Police, not to the Prime Minister, not to anybody else, but to your country. Philbert, did not study promotion. He never come to me and say, they are not promoting me, and so on. He said his time would come. And whenever his time come, he feel appreciated, but that didn't change him from being an acting corporal to confirm corporal and also to be acting sergeant. That didn't change his desire. He worked until the last day. And I'm asking our police officers in the country to do the same. Be honest, be dedicated to the job. Serve your country well.
Fitzburn said that one of his brother's wishes was to see the RSVG police force more developed, and that in his view there is a need for more youth reform programs in the country to help lower the crime rate.
We have a small country, small population, and I believe once we reform and restructure our police force, it will be a force to reckon with. Upgrade on everything. We will have a very good country that visitors would love to come. So I'm asking the Prime Minister is here, I'm asking him that put a lot of interest in this regard. This is what
Prime Minister Gonzalez thanked the parents of the late Sergeant Filbert Chambers for his 11 years of service to the RSVG police force and to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Officer Chambers was enlisted into the RSVG police force on December 6, 2008 and was promoted to rank of acting corporal on June 1st, 2017. He was confirmed in that position on December 31st, 2018, and in January this year he was promoted to rank of acting sergeant. Speaking at the unveiling ceremony of the memorial plaque, PM Gonzalez said Chambers was a highly trained and disciplined police officer.
I want to say to the parents, we thank you for lending the nation your son, a brave and disciplined police officer, a soldier of law and order. And we thank Almighty God for giving him to us for these days. We know that all wounds would be healed in time. And there's the balm of Gilead available to all of us.
PM Gonzalez said while he was unable to attend the funeral because of COVID-19 protocols and guidelines, every death of a citizen of SVG, which is sudden or unnatural, is very painful and weighs very heavy on him, especially when that person is a police officer.
He knew the danger when he went out that day. And he was taking that danger not on behalf of himself, but on behalf of the community, because he had taken an oath as a police officer under the Police Act to maintain law and order and to apprehend those who are reasonably suspected of having committed an offense or who is for some lawful reason required by the police. And he was using his best judgment.
The Prime Minister said the greatest memorial for Sergeant Chambers is for every police officer in the RSVG police force to resolve that they will become better in their service to SVG.
And who talking about it, not looking to the example and the standards of discipline and policing that Sergeant Chambers would have set. The greatest memorial for Sergeant Chambers is for every policeman and woman today to resolve that they will be better policemen and better police women in the tradition of Chambers.
In some news of politics now, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on radio yesterday voiced his opinion on the ongoing recount process of the election results in Guyana. PM Gonsalves said that he is satisfied with the recount process, which is being scrutinized by CARICOM officials, and anticipates the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM to declare a winner soon based on the recount.
I am satisfied that CARICOM will not stand by idly and watch the recount which is properly done for the results to be set aside. We expect the CARICOM Observer Mission to deliver its report, and we expect that what is the recount would be honored, and the Guyana Election Commission will honor that recount and declare the winner in accordance with this recount. And anybody who then wants to challenge anything afterwards can go to court. But you have to declare the winner in accordance with the recount.
PM Gonsalves stated that SVG stands for democracy and that CARICOM will not support any stealing of an election.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands firmly for democracy and reflecting the will of the people. So that will tell you where we are. I don't have to say anything more. I am straight and plain. CARICOM is not going to tolerate anybody stealing any election. I know a lot of opposition parties, when they lose, or anybody who loses, they say, oh, so.
The comments made by PM Gonsalves are not sitting well with some Guyanese, including political parties, activists, and commentators. A president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy, Rickford Buke, accused PM Gonsalves of attempting to undermine the elections recount process. Buke, who called in on Nice Radio today, asked for retraction of the statement.
Offensive and repugnant. The Prime Minister knows that there's currently a recount on the way in Guyana, and that during that recount, thousands of fraudulent ballots were found, allegedly cast in favor of the opposition People's Progressive Party. The police commissioner has confirmed that some of the people who have been registered as voted are dead and live outside of Guyana and were not present in Guyana on election day. As the Elections Commission is currently investigating that matter. Apparently, the recount shows that the People's Progressive Party, the opposition People's Progressive Party, has a lead of 15,000. But there are also allegations that 30,000 votes for the opposition People's Progressive Party are fraudulent ballots. Gonsalves has created political strife in Guyana. He is interjecting himself in Guyana elections. There is a CARICOM team there observing the elections as scrutineer. One person who is from St. Vincent is the Prime Minister's nominee.
Buke stated that the comments by PM Gonsalves have created further tension in Guyana and anger in some circles.
The people in Guyana are angry, and I personally I am offended by it. I'm offended by it because I nominated Dr. Gonsalves for the Democracy Prize a few years ago because we thought that he had principles that conform with the democratic ethos. And before I go, I want to call on Dr. Gonsalves to withdraw his comments because he has compromised CARICOM. He's compromised the CARICOM team that's there, and the team now would be looked upon as his as puppets.
Meanwhile, the incumbent Coalition Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change issued a statement today in response to PM Gonsalves' statements. The release said that the coalition is surprised at the recent utterance of Dr. Gonzalez concerning the ongoing national recount exercise in Guyana, noting that the exercise was convened under the auspices of the chairperson of CARICOM, Mia Motley of Barbados. The statement added that the APNU-AFC is concerned that the incoming chair of CARICOM, Prime Minister Gonzalez, has chosen to pronounce on a process that is still ongoing and proposes to direct a constitutional body in another CARICOM member state in the execution of its duties. The coalition further pointed out that the CARICOM scrutineering team has not yet submitted a report of its findings to the Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, as is mandated to do in keeping with the gazetted order, and that given these circumstances, it is most unfortunate that Dr. Gonzalez has taken a public position that the coalition deems as prejudicial to the integrity of the process and its eventual outcome. The party said that the ongoing recount process is significant and important not only for democracy in Guyana, but to the wider CARICOM region, and it is to be expected that CARICOM leaders will refrain from any actions or utterances that could undermine the legitimacy of the process and its credible conclusion. As the June 30th deadline for the withdrawal of the EC 1 and 2 cent coins approaches, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is reminding the public to spend or take the coins to their commercial banks. In July 2015, the ECCB announced that it was withdrawing the 1 and 2 cent coins from circulation and that the public have 5 years to use those coins. In a news release, Acting Director of the Currency Management Department, Rosbert Humphrey, says the public can spend the coins and businesses can accept them up until June 30th. He, however, advises that as the intention is to pull the coins from circulation, businesses are not to issue the coins as change. He said persons may also take the coins to their commercial banks and exchange them for face value or deposit them to their accounts. After June 30th, nationals of ECCB member states, including Vincentians, will not be able to use the 1 and 2 cent coins to pay for goods or services, as they will no longer be legal tender. 6 of 16 agriculture business idea proposals handed in last year for the OECS Regional Competitiveness Project has met the 70 points criteria and are now in the second stage to be assessed to receive grant funding. The objective of the OECS Regional Agriculture Competitiveness Project, funded by the World Bank, is to increase market access and sales for selected farmers, fishers, and agro-processors from SVG and Grenada. Agriculture Diversification Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Colville King, said that he is hoping that by July, the second process for the proposals will be completed so that the grants could be approved and implementation will commence.
As I mentioned, 6 proposals met the 70-point criteria. There were 2 in the crop areas, fresh produce, process, mainly for export, and 4 were in the agro-processing area or sectors. Of course, each of these alliances are drawing from farmers. Okay, an initial assessment of the capital expenditure associated with these projects indicated that there were about $2.8 million that would be required for investment. Of course, a percentage would be contributed by the alliances, and the majority of it, 80% thereabout, would be matching grants provided to the alliances. So as I said,
King said that the OECS Regional Competitiveness Project has significantly impact on the exporting of project from SVG, and also it can assist the small farmers to meet the need of regional and local markets in terms of nutrition needs.
These alliances would then improve or increase their sales from about 1.8 million pounds of produce to about 2.7 million pounds by the 5th year. So we see how, you know, this project can significantly impact on how we move produce out. And in an era post-COVID, we recognize that the need for regional and national food security is even more urgent. And, you know, this project can assist small farmers to meet the needs of the region and the country in terms of their food and nutrition needs. Apart from
local farmers wishing to increase their production of pineapples will be provided with additional support to do so. The Ministry of Agriculture said it has made available 40,000 plants to farmers at no cost. These plants, it says, can be obtained at the Orange Hill Biotechnology Center, which houses the tissue culture lab. The ministry said it will provide tractor services, fertilizers, and technical support to pineapple farmers for up to 100 new acres of pineapple cultivation, noting that the principal aim of the project is to zero the import of fresh and processed pineapple. The ministry said the current stock of 40,000 plants available to farmers will be replenished by the tissue culture lab on an ongoing basis, and that it will assist with the transportation of plants from Orange Hill to the farm location.